This week on ANN, more than 6,000 people are given free healthcare through an Adventist outreach initiative.
Church leaders pray over 3 physical additions to the headquarters of the Seventh-day Adventist Church.
And humanitarians in Nigeria continue their efforts to assist victims of local militant extremists.
These stories and more coming up.
This is ANN, a service of the Seventh-day Adventist World Church. Thanks so much for joining us this week.
First in the news, the Seventh-day Adventist Church last week ran an extensive free healthcare clinic in the US state of Texas that served more than 6,000 people. The Your Pathway to Health event was deemed a major success by organisers, local government officials and attendees. The Seventh-day Adventist Church in North America sent this report.
The dream began in California's Bay Area, to serve, to heal, to love on a mass scale, one person at a time. Free medical care, free dental care, free eye care, absolutely free, no strings attached. Soon, more and more were talking about what they had seen, what they had heard, what they had experienced. Questions arose. How could we only do this once? Where can we go next? San Antonio, Texas was chosen as the next city whose residents would receive the love of Christ through the hands and feet of anyone willing to serve. An event became a movement. 500 volunteers became 1,000, then 1,500, then 1,700. They came from all parts of North America and beyond, and from all walks of life. They came to register, to greet, to host, to organize, to sing, to teach, and to heal. And as they came, so did the residents of San Antonio. They came the day before the event. They came in the sun. They came in the rain. Services offered inside were more comprehensive than ever. Eye care services included complete eye exams, consultations, retinal scans for glaucoma and retinal detachment, and fittings for glasses. Dental care included cleanings, fillings, crowns, extractions, x-rays, digital scans, and more. Medical care included primary care visits, women's health services, consultation by medical specialists, including heart evaluation, as well as gastroenterology, neurology, pulmonology, rheumatology, infectious disease, podiatry services, immunizations, pharmacy, medical massage, physical therapy, x-rays, laboratory services, and more. And for the first time, medical care included general surgery, including hernia repair, hysterectomies, vasectomies, mass and skin cancer removal, and gallbladder removal. Other first-time services included haircuts and styling, nutrition and healthy cooking demonstrations, and men's suits offered free of charge. And once again, while patients waited, volunteers sang, played, taught, and took the opportunity to meet those who had come. Some told their stories. Some gladly welcomed prayer. Others reflected on their newly found hope. Those who came did not leave the same. Smiles returned to faces. Pain was left behind. And perhaps most importantly, hearts were touched and in some cases, healed. The event was, without a doubt, a tremendous success. 1,700 Seventh-day Adventist Christians from around North America saturated the city of San Antonio with the tangible love of Christ. and brought hope and healing to over 6,000 of the city's residents. That is mission. That is mission accomplished. That is mission accomplished together.
I'm very happy too. I was just overwhelmed at everything. Gone to a massage, to get a haircut. It made us feel so special. And God bless everybody. It's just a blessing. Thank you to the Seventh-day Adventist Church.
Executive officers of the Seventh-day Adventist Church this week had a chance to see two additions to the church's headquarters that showcase biblical values. Sunday marked the dedication and grand opening program of the Biblical Research Institute Library and the Eden to Eden Art Gallery. The newly renovated library will provide church leaders, employees and researchers the ability to explore scholarly and theological materials. World Church President Ted Wilson offered a prayer of dedication for the library and prayed for future researchers who will use its resources. The second edition was the grand opening of the Eden to Eden art exhibit, which illustrates salvation's story from creation to the restoration of the new earth. Eden to Eden transforms the headquarters' main lobby into an art gallery that contains more than 70 pieces of art with biblical stories. World Church President Ted Wilson, who had the dream for this gallery 5 years ago, shares what he hopes visitors will learn once they visit Eden to Eden.
When people come into the headquarters of the Seventh-day Adventist Church, immediately they ought to see that this building has something unique about it, that there's something highly spiritual about it. It's Bible-centered, it's Christ-centered. And so somehow I thought if there was a way to, in a pictorial form, show them God's mighty power from the beginning to the end, the great controversy theme, that it would really inspire people. And out of that came Eden to Eden. And I'm just delighted with what so many creative people have done to portray God's direct intervention in the life of His people from the beginning to the end. What I'm hoping people will take away from here is the incredible love of God and His willingness to enter into our lives and be able to guide us towards His eternal purposes for each of us. And as they view the way God has led in the past and the way He's leading now, they will see that God truly has led in their own life. And when they leave here, I hope they'll be inspired to keep their hand in God's hand.
Church leaders also had the opportunity to get a sneak peek at the Ellen G. White Visitor Centre, which is also located in the headquarters of the Seventh-day Adventist Church. This newly renovated estate was designed to give a 21st century take on the life and ministry of Ellen White, the co-founder of the Seventh-day Adventist Church. The various interactive exhibits feature many aspects of her life, including her humble beginnings, her acceptance of her prophetic gift, her writings, and much more. Jim Nix, director of the Ellen G. White Estate, shared his motivation for creating a brand new experience for the centre.
It's been a dream for a long time. I have had this passion for trying to bring Adventist history to life. I've dedicated my life to trying to bring Adventist history to life for our members, for young people, etc. And the visitor center here, in a sense, is kind of a culmination of that. I really wanted a place where parents, grandparents, aunts and uncles, families on vacation, they can come here with their young people, with new members. Pastors could bring new members here, and they can see a bit about Ellen White's life and her ministry. And I think it's important that we can relate to her as a person. We read the counsels, but if we can relate to her as a person, I think it will be more effective in terms of helping the messages be received well by visitors here, by church members.
The LNG White Estate is currently undergoing further touch-ups and adjustments before its grand opening to the public in June.
The UNICEF humanitarian organisation this week announced that an extremist militant group has rendered 800,000 children and families homeless in northern Nigeria. This fact comes as the world reflects on the one-year anniversary of the abduction of more than 200 schoolgirls in northern Nigeria. The Adventist Development and Relief Agency, in a press release this week, shared how its workers are on the front lines of delivering life-saving materials to displaced families. ADRA is currently distributing food to nearly 1,500 internally displaced persons and providing psychosocial support to 100 displaced children. ADRA workers have also provided assistance to help mitigate diarrhoea among 200 children under the age of 5 and have given prenatal mentoring to 30 pregnant women in a local camp.
3 Seventh-day Adventists have filed a lawsuit in the US federal court against the Washington Nationals, a professional baseball team in Washington, D.C. The lawsuit accuses the baseball club of firing Tony Green, Lloyd Kobe and Ralph Jones due to their refusal to work on Sabbath, which lasts from Friday sundown to Saturday sundown. The former ushers, all retired federal employees, claim that while the baseball club made accommodations for them up to the team's 2013 season, the Nationals changed their policies for the team's 2014 season. The new policies forced all employees to work at least 80% of the home games. The men, however, could not work the amount of games required because of their Sabbath observance. As a result, the men were fired. Legal matters are still pending for this case.
The Seventh-day Adventist Church this week mourned the loss of a former vice president who passed away at the age of 95. Francis Wernick died on April 11 in the US state of Tennessee. According to the Adventist Review, Wernick gained a reputation as a kind, gentle, spiritual leader during his 43 years of service to the Adventist Church. Wernick worked for the church in the US states of North Dakota, Pennsylvania, Ohio and Oregon, and accepted the call to become a General Vice President to the denomination in 1975, where he served for 10 years. Wernick maintained an active ministry for local churches in the US state of Maryland during his retirement. He is survived by his wife of nearly 73 years, Mary Sue, 3 adult children, 7 grandchildren and 3 great-grandchildren.
According to the American Heart Association, heart disease is the #1 killer of women, and it's more deadly than all forms of cancer combined. Recent studies also show that women often don't realize they're having heart attacks because symptoms for women manifest themselves in subtle ways. To shed more light on this topic, ANN's Julio Munoz sat down with Dr. Katja Reinert to discuss signs of heart problems in women and how to maintain a healthy heart.
Hi Katja, thank you so much for joining us on ANN.
Pleasure.
So heart disease. Heart disease, I was surprised to find out, is the #1 killer of women. We often think of cancer, breast cancer for example, maybe ovarian cancer, but not heart disease. Why is it that we don't hear about this impacting women at the levels that it does?
Yeah, it's amazing. Heart disease is the #1 killer for everyone, all over the place, all over the world. And in the case of women, particularly, now we see even more closely younger women as well, unlike sometimes with men. So it's a very big issue, and sometimes women tend to ignore it, thinking, oh, cancer is worse or this and that, but really, heart disease is very key.
So what are some of the symptoms of heart disease, especially in women, and why are they ignored?
So this is so key because, see, women are sometimes thinking, oh, I'm going to have that pain and crushing pain, as usually happens with men, but that's not what happens. They ignore it because it's sometimes simple symptoms. Like, for instance, it could be a neck pain, a little right arm pain, sometimes can come as dizziness or nausea. So these are symptoms that often we link with other kinds of, like a cold or, a spine or a back problem, but that's not the case. It could be a heart attack. So it's kind of tricky. We have to learn the symptoms and really watch for them.
And if women feel any of these symptoms, they should go to their physician right away.
That's right, and that's often what they sometimes don't want to do. They're embarrassed. Oh no, this is not going to be anything serious, and they don't go, so they should go.
So what can women do to help prevent heart disease?
You know, it's so interesting. There are several things they can do. One of the major things, of course, is the lifestyle, the diet, more fruits, more vegetables, more exercise instead of sitting all day long. But there are other things like sleep. You know, chronic lack of sleep actually doubles the risk of heart disease.
We never think of sleep
Exactly.
related to heart disease.
So 7 to 8 hours a day, very important. The other thing is social relationships. They found, the researchers found, that if you have friends and support systems and spend time and that it reduces your stress in your life, it actually is a huge way to prevent heart disease. And so these are important things that we need to keep in mind.
Okay, so some very simple things that women can do help prevent heart disease.
That's correct.
Very important. Thank you so much, Katja.
My pleasure.
Coming up, learn about a tragic accident that killed 9 Adventists in Ghana.
Welcome back, and now for more news from our global church community.
Leaders of the Seventh-day Adventist Church in northern Ghana confirmed that 9 members died as a result of an automobile accident after leaving a church event. The accident involved 2 buses that were carrying 36 people. The members had just left the inauguration of the Mountain View Ghana Seventh-day Adventist offices. Of the 9 people who died, 8 were killed instantly. According to the president of the Seventh-day Adventist Church in northern Ghana, a mass funeral service will be held on April 19. The church in the region is soliciting prayers for the victims' families and for other passengers who are still recovering from their injuries.
During an annual business meeting, leaders of the Seventh-day Adventist Church this week had a chance to hear reports from various world fields and to honour extraordinary leaders for their service. The 2015 spring meeting set the stage for church officers to hear inspiring reports of evangelism and witness efforts from around the world. John Graz, Director of Public Affairs and Religious Liberty, and Orville Parchment, Special Assistant to the President of the Seventh-day Adventist Church, were honoured for their decades of service to the denomination. The Church's Health Ministries Department awarded 2 people with Medals of Distinction. Dr. Harold Lowell Meister Jr. was awarded for his service to his community and to the denomination for more than 50 years. Dr. Albert Rees, who was recently appointed as an Honorary Health Ministries leader, was also awarded for his work as a medical school dean in the US state of Maryland. We will bring you more reports from the 2015 spring meeting next week.
As the South Pacific nation of Vanuatu continues to recover from the impact of Cyclone Pam, the official broadcast network of the Seventh-day Adventist Church in the archipelago is leading an effort to address practical needs. Hope Channel Vanuatu last week launched a campaign to raise money for the 53 Adventist churches that were destroyed by the Category 5 storm. Hope Channel Vanuatu sent this report.
There's a crisis in Vanuatu. The cyclone that struck recently destroyed 53 Adventist churches. They weren't insured, and aid organisations don't rebuild churches. So our church members are stuck. Many of them have lost their own homes, their crops, their businesses. They can't rebuild alone. We're a church family, and families don't leave the ones they love suffering alone. So let's give a little to help Vanuatu a lot.
Film students from nearly 10 Seventh-day Adventist schools participated in an annual film festival conducted by the Seventh-day Adventist Church in North America. This year, the Sunscreen Festival drew 145 attendees. The purpose of Sunscreen is to foster the passion of young Christian filmmakers who use their skills to create projects that creatively advocate social awareness and outreach. The festival is also a time for the young filmmakers to network and to showcase their projects. Nearly 50 films were submitted for the festival's film competition, which highlighted films in 15 different categories. The film that took home the Best in Festival award was entitled The Way, which was produced by students from Walla Walla University. The film sought to tell the biblical story of Saul's conversion on the road to Damascus within a modern military setting. To learn more about Sunscreen, visit sunscreen.org.
And finally in the news this week, the flagship publication of the Seventh-day Adventist Church recently revealed its newest design. As a result of a series of focus groups from around the United States, the Adventist Review decided to incorporate a compact, modern, high-quality look that would make readers proud. Another notable change was made to the magazine section for children, entitled Kids View. The section will be delivered in a poly bag and will be separate from the main magazine. Claude Rishley has more on why the publication needed a makeover.
We've known for a long time that we needed to do something about the magazine. For one thing, we have had a great deal of confusion in the market between Adventist World and the Adventist Review, both magazines being in the same format. So after a lot of market research and focus groups, we came up with the realization that we needed to produce a magazine that would be more compact, that would have a greater heft, more pages, and also our readers told us that they did not want to necessarily receive a magazine in their mailbox every week. So we've turned this magazine now into a monthly magazine, and it also allows us to make for a cheaper subscription. So we think that we're going to have a lot of interest for that format and for what the magazine represents with a much more modern design.
We'll be back after the break with our weekly features.
I pray for my family to be safe, that we're thankful for what we have. I pray for the people who are sick will heal and feel better. I pray for my parents to be safe, and I pray for my brother, and that God gives us a blessing. Please pray at 7 in the morning and at 7 in the evening and 7 days a week.
Welcome back. Laurie Falvo shares a preview of the latest edition of Mission 360 magazine.
Our spring issue of Mission 360 is filled with stories about people whose lives have been touched by Adventist mission projects around the world. Among many other people, you'll meet a soldier whose burning desire to learn about Jesus is satiated through the friendship of a volunteer missionary. A discouraged lonely shepherd who learns of God's love through a radio program while tending camels in the desert, and a darling 9-year-old camper named Jamal who discovers that God likes him very much. Mission 360 brings you dozens of stories that I think you'll find touching and inspiring, and it keeps you up to date on what your mission offerings are helping to accomplish all around the world for Jesus. You can read Mission 360 online for free, or download a free app at mission360mag.org. And thank you for supporting Adventist Mission.
Are you interested in the ocean and the migration of grey whales? Are you also going to the 2015 General Conference session in July? If you answered yes to both of those questions, you may have a chance to watch an exclusive screening of a film entitled Living Waters. Tim Standish has more.
I love walking along the California coast. There are so many interesting and beautiful living things here, but the real action is out here in the ocean. That's where the life really gets interesting. One of the things that is going on right now is the grey whale migration along the coast of California. Grey whales and whale migrations in general are one of the subjects of the new Illustra Media documentary, Living Waters. If you're half as excited about the ocean as I am, you won't want to miss that. The premiere of Living Waters is going to be on July 10 in the afternoon at the General Conference. If you want free tickets to the world premiere, there's only one way to get them. Come to the Faith and Science Council booth and get tickets there, and they're absolutely free.
Now let's turn to David Trim for a look at Adventist history. This week, learn about the life and ministry of Adventist pioneer Joseph H. Wagner.
Welcome to This Week in Adventist History. On April 16, 1967, Davis Memorial Clinic and Hospital was officially opened in Georgetown, the capital of Guyana. Today, it is a 42-bed hospital that treats over 7,000 patients each year. On April 17, in 1889, Joseph H. Wagner died in Basel, Switzerland, aged 78. Wagner had accepted the Seventh-day Sabbath in 1852 and become one of the most influential early Adventist leaders. In the period 1860 to 63, he played a crucial role in leading Adventists to organize as a denomination. As editor of Signs of the Times from 1881 to 1886, he helped to shape Adventist theology, especially our ecclesiology. In 1886, he went as a missionary to Europe, where he edited the church's German and French papers. Wagner's son, Elliot J., is well known among Adventists today because of his emphasis on righteousness by faith. But Joseph H. Wagner, who is largely forgotten, deserves to be remembered as an eloquent speaker and writer, an effective editor, and a humble leader with an unusual gift for building consensus among other church leaders. Also on April 17, but 91 years later, in 1980, the 53rd General Conference session began in Dallas, Texas, with 1,696 delegates attending. This, incidentally, was the first GC session I attended, though not as a delegate. And it was very important in our history because the Statement of Adventist Fundamental Beliefs was voted in 1980. That was This Week in Seventh-day Adventist History.
Thanks for watching ANN. Join us next week for more news from the headquarters of the Seventh-day Adventist Church.
In the meantime, join our global conversation on Facebook, Twitter and Instagram. You can connect with other Adventists worldwide through more stories, photos and videos. Visit Facebook/Adventist News, Twitter/Adventist Church and Instagram @Adventist Church.
Our good news for this week comes from Isaiah chapter 40 verse 28. The passage says, "Have you never heard? Have you never understood? The Lord is the everlasting God, the creator of all the earth. He never grows weak or weary. No one can measure the depths of his understanding."
That's our program for this week. And remember, you can always visit news.adventist.org for daily news and videos. Until next time, God bless.
Take care.